in order to understand project management properly, it's very important not to be sidetracked with lofty charts and graphs and all that in the first instance. No, no, no. We have different levels of project management. From level 1 all the way to level 5, we have people managing projects ad hoc. We have people kind of here and there in between. We have people who have a method to what they're doing, and then we have people who are constantly maintaining a level of excellence in their project management through a calculated and deliberate approach. And then we have people that are not just sustaining it, we have people that are improving it. The 5 levels to project managers. So the question is, which one are you? Do you have a method to control the madness? Or are you in the middle of chaos and are you doing things in an ad hoc fashion? For those people who are just getting into project management is simply getting stuff done, no matter what, using everything that you have against the project going off course. Because you want to use common sense, you want to use tools, you want to use any techniques you've got, you want to use any knowledge you've got, you want to use everything you have to ensure that that project gets to its end goal, to make sure that your customer get what they're looking for from the project. And that's why in the first tutorial I told you that project management is very customer focused. In order to be a great PM, you have to have customer focus. You have to be very customer centric. So let's take the textbook kind of definition and let's make it a little bit visual here. So this round circle here is an endeavor that has been brought to you to achieve. This endeavor, let's say in this instance, is a request from your boss to implement a new software application. Okay, so that's the project. Your boss says, we've got a new software application to implement. How do you go about implementing a software application from the design or the feasibility all the way to the delivery of the application? There are a number of things that need to be done. We need to first of all have the conceptualization down right, then we go through a number of different things. We design or develop, then we actually go through the testing, we go through an implementation phase, and it then goes into the afterlife, into the maintenance. But when you think about the work being done, the programming, the testing and all that, that's different from actually managing the endeavor. That endeavor is going to have lots of technical work involved. But project management is not about the technical work involved in coding the application. Project management is about managing the work being done. It's about managing the processes, the procedures surrounding the project, but not necessarily about doing the work itself. It's about making sure that the work is done on time, on budget, within scope, and so on. So project management applied to this idea in the world of the PMBOK guide is the application. So I'm going to draw an arrow here for the application of something. In the world of the PMBOK guide, it's the application of knowledge. The application of knowledge to this endeavor is part of what project management is. Knowledge regarding what is the question I often get. Well, it's the application of knowledge about different things. And I'm going to show you what these different things are one by one. There are many different things that constitute the knowledge that I'm talking about. Knowledge regarding scope management. What do I mean by knowledge regarding scope management? On any project, there's usually a scope. The question is the scope defined or is it undefined? Is the scope coming to light as you move along the project? You move 10 yards in the project and someone comes along with another requirement? Is that how your projects are being managed? Or is there a method, some deliberate knowledge that you are applying to managing scope, to managing requirements? Scope management is an art. It's also a science. There's a lot of calculation that could go into managing scope, a lot of deliberateness. So knowledge regarding scope management being applied to implementing this new application is part of project management. It's the application of knowledge regarding how to define scope within definite boundaries, the different tools and techniques that you use to define your scope. Knowing what those are is part of the knowledge we apply to the project, and that constitutes project management. Something else that's part of project management is schedule management. What do I mean by schedule management? By schedule management, I'm talking about being able to organize the different pieces, the different aspects of the project into what we call a schedule. Now, this schedule has tasks with their start dates and their finish dates. We also refer to these tasks as activities. Now, in the world of the PMI, we refer to this as schedule management or time management. Now, typically, when we talk about time management, people think about personal time, managing your calendar, managing your daily routine, and so on. But that's not really what we're talking about here. Here, we're talking about managing a schedule for this entire endeavor and making sure that all the tasks and all the activities are well defined. We're making sure that all the milestones for the different handovers, for example, if we end design and we're going to move into the development stage, there needs to be a handoff, there needs to be an approval process, and all of that stuff needs to be scheduled very strictly, if I might add. On some projects, those of us who are from different worlds know that there could be various iterations of the same thing. But the bottom line is schedule management, understanding schedule management or time management, if you want to call it that, is part of the knowledge that we need to apply to the endeavor. Now, by the time you begin to do these things, you begin to deliberately define the scope, using certain documents, using certain approaches to make the scope frozen. You want to freeze the scope, you want to make sure that there are no unauthorized additions after a certain point. You want to stop any additions without thorough analysis and without thorough approval. We're talking about scope management. Here, we're talking about schedule management. Some of the other pieces of knowledge, to go over them really quick, are cost management, you want to be able to apply the understanding of how to effectively budget a project. How do you effectively budget this endeavor? How do you effectively define what the different costs are for each activity that you've identified here? That's part of the knowledge we're talking about. There's a method to the madness of budgeting. If you've ever been there, I'm not talking about budgeting for the fiscal year and all that. This is totally different. This is budgeting, in many instances, something that you've never done before. If this was a brand new software implementation, you've never been there before, there has to be a method for finding out how much you're going to spend. It's cost management. Now, also, we have quality management as another area that we need to be aware of. Quality management will ask the question, how do we validate the quality of this thing we've built? How do we ensure that it actually meets the user's requirements or the key stakeholders' requirements. That's quality management. Quality management, I'm going to write this in a different color. We talk about fitness for use. When we talk about quality management, we're talking about fitness for use. We're talking about conformance to requirements. So you're asking the question, how in this project are we going to make sure that there is quality throughout this software application? How do we know it's fit for use? How do we know it conforms to the customer's requirements? And how do we ensure that there's stakeholder satisfaction? Because many a time, things are fit for use, they conform to requirements, but the stakeholders aren't happy. So thinking about these and applying that knowledge to managing this endeavor, that's project management, part of project management. Now when we come back, I'll be talking a little bit more about other aspects of project management, other areas of knowledge. See you when I come back.